Hi guys, thought I would do another video. I haven't done one since last weekend. You'll have to forgive me, I have a little cold, so let's go ahead and get into it. This next movie, I really think has been judged because, it came so later in the series, and people I think either really like it or they hate it. I really like it. I think it's a good installment in the trilogy. The film I am talking about is The Godfather Part 3. Before I decided to make this video, I thought I would rewatch the movie. And I actually have it on the TV right now. I'm like an hour and 20 minutes into it. I still got a good hour and a half to go. But, The Godfather Part 3 is a very 90s movie. And by that I mean, Part 3 takes place in 1979. And basically, it's Michael Corleone's, I guess, rise to power and then his downfall. I am glad that Al Pacino, Talia Shire, Diane Keaton, and Johnny Fontaine from the first movie came back. I don't think that's his real name, but they're all back. Tom Hagen is dead in Part 3, in case you haven't seen it yet. Al Pacino looks very old. You can't really tell from that, but he looks very old in this movie. I mean, in real life now, he's like in his mid-70s. He doesn't look this old. No way. And, basically this movie is about how at the beginning of the movie he gets like a award from the Catholic Church, and Corleone decides to take over a big Vatican bank to bring up his crime family. And he gets the help from a guy named Vincent. He's Michael Corleone's, I guess, new, like, most foremost bodyguard or assistant. He's new in this movie, and Michael Corleone basically has been attempted killed a couple times in this movie. He gets a stroke in this movie. His daughter is played by Sofia Coppola, Francis Ford Coppola's daughter. Sofia Coppola was originally going to have Winona Ryder's part in Dracula, but she declined it so she could be in this. Part 3, I watched all of the Godfather films in order when I first saw them. I wasn't expecting a lot from Part 3 because Part 1 was great. Part 2 was even better. Part 3, I wasn't expecting a lot. I mean, it wasn't until a couple years ago that I even think that there even was a Part 3. But Part 3, I think, is judged a lot. I really think people overlook Part 3 when they talk about The Godfather. People talk about Parts 1 and 2. They never talk about Part 3. Part 3, for me, it starts out really boring. But 45 minutes into it, it gets better. The movie, it's one of those movies where it starts out really boring, but as the story keeps developing, it keeps getting you hooked. I really like Part 3. I kind of want to say it's probably my favorite one compared to Part 1. I mean, I like all three Godfather movies. They're all really good. Part 3 is it is a very nice conclusion to the trilogy. Now, I've heard that over the years after Part 3, there have been talks for a Part 4. I have absolutely no idea how there could be a Part 4 unless Talia Shire returns. I don't think it would be a Godfather movie without at least Al Pacino. Unless the Godfather movie they make takes place between Parts 2 and 3. Because Part 2 takes place in, like, I think it's the 50s, and then Part 3 takes place in the 70s, so we don't really have a tale of Michael Corleone in the 60s. But I'm glad that Francis Ford Coppola and Mario Puzo wrote all three movies. I'm glad for that. I believe it's got the Carmine Coppola did the music, and I believe she's related to Francis Ford Coppola. And I just really think that Part 3 is a really good installment in the trilogy. I'm kind of glad they stopped after 3. I don't think a Part 4 would have been very good unless it would have been a prequel between 2 and 3. As for another Godfather movie, I would imagine if they make one, it will be based off the Mark Weingartner books, The Godfather Revenge, and The Godfather Returns and The Godfather Revenge. But if you haven't read the book, a lot of you haven't. If you've read the book almost follows the movie closely, like it's almost word for word. And I really recommend the book. The Weingartner books, I don't recommend that much. I've read like half of Godfather's Revenge, and I didn't really like it. I probably should have read Return before I read Revenge. But I think what really saves this movie is Al Pacino's performance, Talia Shire, and Sofia Coppola. Um, Part 3, it's a really good installment in the trilogy. I really think you'll like this, especially if you liked Part 2. Michael Corleone is very different from Vito Corleone in the first one. Um, it's it's relatively simple to follow and understand. The first and second ones kind of were up there, you know, like kind of kept jumping back and forth, especially the second one. But it's a really good Godfather movie. I recommend it if you're a fan of it, and if you've only seen the first one, or if you don't like Part 3, rewatch it. You know, like rewatch all three movies in order. I really think you won't think badly of Part 3 after you watch it a second or third time, knowing that it's got a good rating on IMDb and everything. This DVD actually is not a. If you have this release, it is not a good release of Part 3. The quality is very bad. And they list some special features on here that would be really good to have on the DVD, but they're not on here for some reason. This is a 2001 DVD release. It was the first DVD to be released for the Godfather movies. If you buy the Godfather movies, I recommend you buy either the trilogy pack or you can buy the separate DVDs that have been recently released. But, I mean, if you have these DVDs, I recommend upgrading to the newer DVDs. They're way better than these. And I just hope that they'll come out with the Blu-ray releases pretty soon. But check out Godfather Part 3. It is a stunning conclusion to the Godfather trilogy, and it might actually kind of make you cry at the very end of the movie. And I think you probably already know what happens at the end of the movie, or you'll probably know why. So check out Part 3. It's a great Godfather movie, and you won't want to miss it.